Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
It's our travel unit. We can pretend we're traveling. It's been so long since I've been able to travel. So we're going to be talking about one of the most beautiful places on earth, in my opinion, and that's a city in Switzerland called Bern. But we're also going to talk about some of the things you might see if you ever get a chance to go there as a tourist, and a little bit of their history. That's always fun. I love travel units.
Indeed. And so today, as we approach Christmas, we're talking about a town in Switzerland. And we're going to be talking about the actual capital of Switzerland, which you're going to find out soon is not actually Zurich. Or what's
Geneva.
the other town? Geneva. Yeah, it's actually Bern, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get to it. Let's listen to the entire contents of our lesson, and we'll come right back.
What's the capital of Switzerland? Many people might assume it's Geneva, famous for its watchmaking industry, or Zurich, a busy economic center. However, it's actually Bern that holds this title. Instead of the towering skyscrapers and financial centers typical of many capital cities, Bern offers a slower pace of life, deeply connected to a rich natural landscape and historical narratives. Bern is located in the central western part of Switzerland, at the foot of the Alps, embraced by a bend of the Aare River. As the legend goes, the Duke of Zähringen, Bern's founder, named the city after the first animal he captured during a hunting expedition in the area. This quarry happened to be a bear, giving rise to the name Bern, which means bear in German. The city's symbol, featuring the image of a bear, serves as an enduring reminder of this fascinating origin. Since Bern is known as the city of bears, a trip there isn't complete without a visit to the bear pit. This spacious park, open to everyone without an admission fee, attracts a large number of visitors. The bear pit, designed to resemble nature with trees and caves, has been providing a safe environment for the city's symbolic bears since 1857. A short distance from the bear pit, the renowned Rose Garden is a must-visit for nature lovers. It's home to more than 400 varieties of roses and irises. Besides its impressive flora, the garden's elevated location makes it one of the best spots to gaze out over the old town and the Aare River. Okay, folks, let's get started. So, if you were to guess the capital of Switzerland, you might guess one of two major cities that most people have heard of, Geneva, which is a French-speaking city in Switzerland, and then Zurich, which is a German-speaking city. I was surprised when I discovered that neither of those two cities are the capital. Usually the capital is the biggest city, but not necessarily. There are states I know in America that you'd be surprised to find out what the capital of that particular state is, like New York. You know, in my state, though, Tom, Phoenix is the capital of Arizona, and it is the biggest city. But here we're going to talk about a city in the country of Switzerland that isn't the biggest. It's the fifth largest in terms of population, but it sure got a lot of history.
Right, so we're encountering history, or we're finding history, we're discovering history at every turn in Bern. Wherever you go, you're going to see something that is historic in nature. And we begin our article with the question, what's the capital of Switzerland? Which means, what is the capital city of Switzerland? Like Tokyo is the capital of Japan, Washington, D.C. is the capital of the USA, etc. And many people might assume it's Geneva, famous for its watchmaking industry, or Zurich, a busy economic center. Okay, so yes, indeed, lots of people may assume it's Geneva because that's where the watchmaking industry is centered. If you want to spend a lot of money on a watch and wear it on your wrist and show it off, well, you buy a Swiss watch. And the Swiss watchmaking industry, it's centered in Geneva.
If something is centered somewhere, it just means it is located there. That's kind of its base, you might say. I was surprised at the difference between these two cities of Geneva and Zurich. They're very much like the culture of the language that is primarily spoken there. So Geneva is very French-feeling, and then you go to Zurich and it's very German-like. So it's kind of fun. Culture does matter. It makes a difference. But we're going to a smaller place called Bern. And you might hear some foreigners who speak English as a native language call it Bern. I've heard people say Bern. But most people, especially those who read or travel at all, know that it's pronounced more with like a more air, Bern. Bern. You're going to find out what it means in German in a minute. But we are talking about the capital of Switzerland. So instead of the towering skyscrapers, if you are talking about a skyscraper, it's very, very high. We're building more and more skyscrapers here, at least in Taipei, which I don't like. I like to see the sky. Living in New York, we had all these skyscrapers that blocked out the sun. I hated it, especially in the cold winter. But they have a lot of very, very tall skyscrapers and financial centers that are typical of capital cities. But Bern doesn't. It's a little different. A financial center is just where a country or a city does most of its financial work. It could be like Wall Street. Or London. London is very famous for their financial center as well.
Right, and of course, we've got the word economic or economic. That's just related to economics, and you can pronounce this either economic or economic. Both are acceptable. And again, it's not a financial center. It doesn't have these tall skyscrapers. Bern offers a slower pace of life, deeply connected to a rich natural landscape and historical narratives. So yes, indeed, it has a slower pace of life, just like here in Taiwan. If you go to Taipei, there's a fast pace of life. But if you go to Hualien or Tainan, they have a slower pace of life in those places. And Bern is how that is in Switzerland here. It has a slower pace of life. And yes, it's deeply connected to a rich natural landscape. So it's quite scenic there with the mountains and stuff like that. And also, it has a connection to a rich historical narrative. Narratives generally are stories, but basically this just refers to things that happened in history. Basically, to put it simply, Bern has a lot of history, and there's lots of things to check out, like old buildings and old stories and things like that.
We use narratives these days, though, as a word you'll often see in the news. One side will disagree with another side, and they'll talk about how they're trying to sell some narrative. They're making up what they want people to believe. So if you see that in the news, that's kind of what it means, that you're not getting the facts, you're getting someone's version of what they want you to believe, a narrative. Moving on to the next paragraph, it says Bern is located in the central western part of Switzerland at the foot of the Alps. The Alps is that gorgeous mountain range where there's a lot of terrific skiing that goes on there. It's a little too scary for me to go skiing in Switzerland. I'm kind of more of a beginner level, but the Alps are quite beautiful. And if you're at the foot of a mountain range, you're just kind of tucked in at the base of the mountain range there, and it's just a beautiful area to have this just scenic town. It's really gorgeous.
Indeed, and of course we've got the Aare River, and as the legend goes, the Duke of Zähringen, Bern's founder, named the city after the first animal he captured during a hunting expedition. So this is a legend. It's an old story. That's what a legend is. It's an old story that may or may not be true, and yes, it's usually a traditional story. And yes, we have this legend that this fella by the name of Zähringen, this duke, that's of course a title of someone who's high up in government, or
he's royalty
in the kingdom. Yes, indeed, in the royal family or whatever. And he was Bern's founder, and he named the city after the first animal he captured during a hunting expedition in the area. So he was there, he went hunting, and he captured a bear. He probably shot it with a gun, a rifle, or maybe he trapped it or something like that. But anyway, he captured a bear, and he decided, I'm going to name the city Bern, which means bear.
Yeah, so that's kind of the way that this particular little town got its name. So a duke went hunting. They often would go hunting. They still do this as royals. They love those hunting expeditions, especially in Europe. For Americans, we tend to just go with our pals. We go with our friends. They have beautiful horses and, it's very fancy. And they have fox that help them go hunting. But, yeah, we have a different culture in America for hunting. There, it was something that the royalty would do a lot. They didn't have jobs, so, they had to amuse themselves some way. So they went hunting, and he got one of these bears. I think there are quite a few bears, or there used to be, in this particular area. I'm curious if they still have a lot of wild bears or if they've all kind of been captured and put into zoos. Who knows? If you're a founder of something, guys, you are someone who set something up. Maybe you are the founder of a new company, you set up an organization, or in this case, he was the founder of a city. So, as the legend goes, is kind of the phrase we use if you ever see that. As the legend goes, or as legend says, or as the legend rolls out. So anyway, it's what people have passed down, usually by word of mouth. Eventually it gets written down, but legends can sometimes be based on truth, but, they're usually filled with a lot of fictional parts too. So legends can be kind of fun.
Right, so as the legend goes, or as the story goes, or according to legend, Bern was founded by the Duke of Zähringen, and he named it after a bear that he shot and killed during an expedition. So an expedition, of course, is a kind of trip you take in order...
I don't know if he killed him, Tom. They said he captured him.
Oh, captured him. Okay, well, I assume he probably killed him later and ate him.
What are they going to do? They don't eat bear. No.
Well, you want to stuff it and put it above your mantelpiece
that's what they do.
Show all your friends that you killed it or whatever.
Yeah, the bear rug, remember, on the floor?
Yeah,
in a lot of classes.
Yeah, I don't dare say that he actually killed it because we don't see the word kill here. But I must assume he did later on, or at least it died of natural causes. But in any case, he captured that bear during a hunting expedition. An expedition is kind of a journey or a trip you take, and you're trying to accomplish some kind of goal. You're exploring a certain area, or in this case, you're hunting animals or whatever. So yes, indeed, of course, lots of people take expeditions, say, to the North Pole or something like that, or to the South Pole to explore those areas.
Okay, guys, before we move on, we're going to listen for a few moments to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们这2天要带大家去瑞士哦，不过我们不是要去 Geneva， 我们也不是要到 Zurich， 就是所谓的苏黎世。我们是要去哪里呢？我们要去 Bern， 我们要去瑞士的 capital 首都。你会觉得很惊讶，对不对？原来瑞士的首都是 Bern， 可是 Geneva 跟苏黎世好像都还蛮有名的耶。我们来赶快看一下第一段的第3句啊，这个地方事实上根本就是 Bern 拥有这个首都的头衔。第一段的第3句特别在哪里啊？特别在请你先把 it's 跟 that 圈出来。其实它是一个强调句型，或者我们所谓的分裂句型。为什么要叫做分裂呢？到底强调什么呢？它强调的就是 it's 跟 that 中间的那个词。而为什么叫分裂呢？的原因是因为 it's 跟 that 其实是插入原本一个完整的句子，让它分裂掉，然后我们可以看出强调的部分。比如说你拿手指头把 it's 跟 that 都先遮掉，你会发现句子是 Actually， 事实上 Bern holds this title， Bern 才拥有这个 capital 的头衔。那如果是平铺直述的这句话其实没什么特别，可是当我们插入了 it's that 的时候，我们就强调Bern， 事实上根本就是 Bern 才是首都啦。你看我们连中文的翻译都会有点不同，所以它是一个强调句或者是分裂句。那当然 Bern 它有什么样的特色呢？很多的首都啊，大概就有很多 skyscrapers 啦，或者是 financial centers 啦。Bern 它比较特别哦，它可以结合自然景观还有历史故事，然后它的 pace of life 生活节奏是比较慢的，所以我们接下来就要来看一下这个 Bern 它到底在哪里呢？第二段的第一句告诉我们位置 Bern is located 它就坐落于阿尔卑斯山脚下，而且在阿尔河的这个一个弯道环绕着，好，有山有水。不过在这里第二段第一句呢，逗点之后连接词 and 跟 is 都省略掉，因为其实主词就是 Bern 嘛。那我们看到两个这个描述，一个是 Bern is located 逗点之后 and is embraced， 那我们干脆把 be 动词也删了，连接词也删了，那句子呢就会很通顺。其实在这种描述地点或者是描述风景的文章当中，会蛮常出现很多的关系子句的简化，通常我们也不用刻意去分析，只要顺着看，其实就可以带出一种动感，然后会让这个整个文章还有我们在阅读时候产生的景象会很丰富。好，接下来我们看到第二段的第二句哦，前面可以整个画起来 As the legend goes 如同传说所走，也就是根据传说啦，直接把它记成一个固定的句型 As the legend goes 就根据传说，当时为什么这个城市叫做 Bern 呢？原来有一个公爵，他在一次狩猎的探险当中就捕获了一个动物，这个动物就是一只熊，所以才叫做 Bern。 好，我们来看一下这一句哦。这一句后面我们看到的是有一个 the Duke， 有一个公爵，这个公爵好，这个名字我不太会念，不过没有关系，我们先跳过名字，逗点之后看到同位语 Bern's founder，伯恩这个城市的建造者，逗点之后呢，出现真正的动词name A after B， 以 B 来命名 A 的名字，所以有一个公爵就命名了这个城市，根据那个动物。哪个动物呢？ The first animal 是先行词，后面带着一个关系子句，关系子句的关带 that 省略掉，注意一定要用 that 因为先行词里面有 first 这个强调字眼。好，所以我们刚刚说啦，就是以第一次他在这个 hunting 当中所捕猎的动物，就以它来命名了。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. It's our travel unit, and we're focusing on Switzerland's capital city called Bern for the next couple of programs. So we started out by telling you it's kind of surprising that Switzerland's capital isn't either Geneva or Zurich, which are really big, big cities with lots of skyscrapers. They're famous around the world. I'm sure a lot of people have never heard of Bern before. But Bern is the actual capital city. It's smaller, and it's got a slower pace of life. It's got a lot of beautiful scenery. It's just gorgeous there. Plus, there's a lot of history that took place there. So it's kind of a cool place to spend some time exploring. And if we don't get to go for real and be there in person, we get to at least talk about it. You can look online and see some of the photos that people have taken.
Exactly. So we did talk about how it got its name. Bern means bear in the local language there, and it was named that way from the Duke of Zeringen, who went hunting and captured a bear there. He went on an expedition and decided to name the city after that animal. Imagine if he caught a fox, or if he caught a rabbit, or a squirrel, or a rat, or a chinchilla, or something. Maybe Bern would have been called something else. And this quarry happened to be a bear, giving rise to the name bear, which means bear in German. So if you're hunting an animal, the object that you're hunting is called your quarry, okay? That is your prey. You could also say that as well, P-R-E-Y. And this quarry, the bear, happened to be a bear, and therefore Bern was named after this animal.
Yeah, so when you see this word quarry, it's the animal that's being hunted or pursued. It's some sort of game. animals. So, yeah, it happened to be a bear, and it gave rise to, something gives rise to something else, kind of started it happening. It's the reason why today we have this city named Bern, which does mean bear in German. So the city's symbol features the image of a bear. If you have the chance to go, you'll see these big signs that say Bern, and of course there's a bear on it. It's really cute. And these signs, or the symbol of the bear, serves as an enduring reminder of this fascinating origin. If something's a reminder of something, it's just a way to kind of teaching someone, remind somebody of something they need to do or need to talk to. It could be written. It could be a written reminder. It could be a spoken reminder. Sometimes I'll write little post-its at home that are reminders to myself because I'll forget things. So you can remind people to do things in a lot of different ways. You're just kind of, giving them a little nudge and say, hey, don't forget this. You need to get this done. Or don't forget, you've got a doctor's appointment this afternoon. So this bear serves as a reminder of how the city came to get its name.
That reminds me, of course, of Kumamoto in Japan, whose name means root of the bear, if I'm not mistaken. So indeed, it's kind of similar there. Maybe they got the idea from the Japanese. Who knows? Now, moving on to the next paragraph here, it says, since Bern is known as the city of bears, a trip there isn't complete without a visit to the bear pit.
Oh.
Okay, so yes, indeed, it's a city known for bears. So if you go there, you should go to a place called the Bear Pit. And this spacious park, open to everyone without an admission fee, attracts a large number of visitors. So the Bear Pit is actually a park, and it's quite spacious. It's quite big. And anybody can go there. There's no admission fee. An admission fee, of course, is just the amount of money you pay to be admitted to some place, to be allowed into that place. We do use the word admission as a formal word to talk about how much it costs to go to a concert or to see a movie. How much is admission? Oh, it's 150 NT to see this movie, for example.
Yeah, you could talk about the price of a ticket, but you could just say, what's the admission fee? Or what's admission to go to the museum? I don't think they give you a ticket, some of these places like museums, but you have to pay a small fee to get in. Well, the Bear Pit is designed to resemble nature. They've got trees there and these caves. They've probably been man-made or built by men, and it has been providing a safe environment for the city's symbolic bears since 1857. Yeah, nowadays it's kind of dangerous to be a bear out there living among people. Bears scare people, even here in Taiwan. Unfortunately, we've lost some bears who have been killed by folks who are scared to death of them. If you have the chance, though, you need to call up the wildlife people or the zoo and get them to take good care of these animals. Those animals are afraid and they're trying to survive. So it's sad when we see some of these big, beautiful animals killed. If something resembles something else, it just looks like that, or looks like that thing. It looks similar to. Some kids resemble their parents. Some don't. It just looks like the thing you're talking about. Here, they're trying to make it look like you're out in nature, although a lot of these trees and caves didn't come by their arrangement naturally. They probably built this kind of cool-looking place. It is a park, and I would say it's more like an amusement park sort of thing or zoo rather than just a natural sanctuary for bears.
Right, so it's a symbolic environment for those bears, kind of a sanctuary for those bears. It's just symbolic. It's not really serving as a place to protect bears. So if something's symbolic, it just represents something. You may give somebody a gift, for example, which is symbolic of your friendship or your love for that person. A diamond ring on your fiance's finger is symbolic of your eternal love for her.
Yeah, so we've got this place that you'll want to go to if you get a chance. And then moving on to the final paragraph, a short distance from the Bear Pit is something called rose garden. It's renowned, meaning it's very famous. People have talked about it. If something or someone is renowned, it's because they've either done something impressive or invented something cool, or it's just famous for some reason. This rose garden is a must visit for nature lovers, especially if you like flowers. But this doesn't just have roses. If you see the next sentence, they've got irises there as well. So it's home to, or it has, more than 400 varieties of roses and irises. And this is why my mom wanted to go to the rose garden.
Okay, so if you're into flowers, go check this rose garden out. You can see lots and lots of different kinds of roses and lots of different kinds of irises, which is another kind of flower. And besides its impressive flora, the garden's elevated location makes it one of the best spots to gaze out over the old town and the Ara River. So here we've got flora. That just refers to plants, okay? And it's often used together with the word fauna, which means animals. So the flora and fauna of a certain place, that just means the plants and the animals of a certain place.
Yeah, it's natural beauty, which is often fun to see. So this is a really great place, it looks like, to go and visit. We're going to keep talking about Bern on our next program, but we'll be focusing more on some of the things that people have built, like cathedrals and these clock towers. There's so much to see there, but if you don't see the scenic beauty, if you don't notice that and appreciate that, you're missing what's really beautiful about Bern, Switzerland. Right now, guys, we're going to listen for a few moments to our Chinese teacher again, and then we'll be back to wrap this up.
那接下来这样子的命名是什么样的命名呢？因为刚好是个熊嘛，就产生 Bern。那为什么是 Bern？ 为什么不是 bear 呢？因为 Bern 在德语当中就是 bear， 所以 Bern 它就是个德语的名字。好，帮我看一下第二段的第三句，好像感觉有点复杂哦。This quarry happened to be a bear。这个猎物刚好是一只熊。逗点之后，give rise to 可以先抓出来 ，give rise to 就是产生导致什么结果 ，to 是介系词，而 giving 呢，还原应该是一个关系子句 ，which gave G-A-V-E 用过去式哦。可是在这边比较特别的是 ，which 指的不是熊，而是在狩猎的这个猎物啊，第一只打到的这个猎物刚好是熊的这一件事情，因为逗点之后会取补充说明的关系子句。会可以有两种功能：一，代替它正前方的先行词；二，代替它逗点前面这整句话。好，所以刚好是一只熊这件事情就产生了 Bern 这个名字。那我们刚刚说 Bern 是德文嘛，逗点之后的会取到句尾的会取，真的就是指前面的先行词 Bern， 就是伯恩这个城市的名字。好，同样在这句话当中，我们看到两个补充说明的which关系子句，然后which有两个不同的功能。好，接着我们就来看那当然这座城市的象征当然就是熊啦，熊就是知道说这就是 Bern， 然后就想到那个公爵，然后第一只动物来命名。不过呢 Bern 被称为熊之城如果我们到了 Bern 没有去参观熊坑的话，就不算完美咯。第三段的第一句也非常重要。首先第一个 since 在这里是 because 的意思，就因为它是熊之城嘛，所以我们一定要参观。在 Bern 里面有一个 The Bear Pit 熊坑，这熊坑如果你到 YouTube 去查，就查到很多影片很多游客在那边拍影片 po 上去，它的确就好像一个動物園里面的那个熊，很多里面有好多只，就在这个城市里面。可是这句话还有一个很特别的句型，我们把 isn't 的 not 抓出来，跟后面的 without 抓出来，它是负负得正的一个句型，也有强调的意味哦。旅行不完整，如果没有去拜访熊坑的话，所以有时候我们要强调你如果去那边，记得一定要去 Bear Pit 哦，这样子就没有力。如果我们来个负负得正，就会想到你这旅行没走完呢。如果 without 你没有去熊坑，所以这个句型要特别抓出来。好，那当然除了说这个熊之城你到了之后要去熊坑，然后它整个其实是一个很宽敞的公园啦，就有很多的游客。那另外呢，就是还有玫瑰花园出现在第四段 Rose Garden 也是我们到 Bern 一定要去的地方。我们明天还会再谈更多有关于瑞士首都 Bern 的一些消息。我是安娜，我们明天见。
That's all for today, everybody, but please join us again next time when we continue to talk about Bern, Switzerland. It's going to be really exciting, so don't forget. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.